Hello guys and welcome back. So we ended up creating this. I may have changed a couple of values to make it go faster, and I think I reduced this to 1. I think this one was set to 4 or something like that, and I also added a global multiplier, set it to 20. Okay, cool. So what I want to do is I'm going to copy this now that I've done doing the R&D or testing it. I'm going to copy that and go back to the original setup, and I have reduced the point count 10 times, so it's much faster. It was 0.15. I've reduced this to 1.5. I'm going to dive inside, take a look. This is our current setup, nothing is different. And I'm going to paste this velocity, this new, let's call it custom attraction. Okay, and I'm going to dive inside, and let's hit play, see what we get. Okay, so it's working. It's attracting all the points as they get emitted, which is cool. Now what I want to do is I want to stop the emission after frame 50. So I'm going to say $f is less than 50, and I'm going to dive inside this custom attraction, and right now it's overriding the velocity completely. I don't want that. I'm going to add a mix node, and I'm going to mix between this and the original velocity, and I'm going to expose this guy. Okay, so let's set this to 0, and we should see no difference. Sorry, let's set this to 1. We should see no difference, and actually I want to flip this so it makes more sense. Yeah, I want it to be 0, means nothing, means don't change anything. I didn't flip them, sorry. So let's do this. So 0 means don't change anything. This is our current sim, nothing has changed. And as I slide this, as I increase this, the effect is going to get introduced a bit by bit, and this is how we can control it. So what I'm going to do, go to frame 50 or maybe 48, set a keyframe of 0, go to frame 72, set this to 1, and I'm going to make the transition be snappier towards the end, so I'm going to let it be smooth or soft here, and then I want it to quickly or linearly snap into that value. And let's hit play. We stop the emission after 50, and before we see it, let me turn off this viewer pop attract, the pop group. I want to hide it, but it looks like I can't. Okay, it's fine. Let's go back, let's hit play. It's going to play after frame 50, emission is going to stop. Frame 48, the attraction is going to start. And there we go. We have our attraction working. Now obviously we want to time this more appropriately, but I think it's working pretty well at the moment. The last thing I want to add is I want to introduce more noise, more randomization to this. So I'm going to add a random attribute. I'm going to say add to V. I'm going to change it to direction and orientation, and the direction attribute is going to be V, and this is going to use the velocity vector to generate the new value. Set this to 1. Not seeing. Oh, sorry, we were not looking at the velocity. Yeah, so let's set this to V. Let's set this to 1. And let's set this to something like that, just to add a little bit more randomization. I'm actually going to add it after the resample, because the resample is going to interpolate the values between the points. Let me explain this. So we have points here. If we randomize these guys, when we resample it, it's going to nicely blend. The resample is going to nicely blend the velocity in between. I don't want that. I want each point to get its unique value, and this is going to do that. So let's take a quick look and see how it looks. Okay, cool. Traction is working. Nice. Last thing I want to do is I want to create a UV coordinate, a U coordinate along this path. I'm going to do that using a UV texture node. I'm going to set it to arc length spline. I'm going to set it to point, and this will create a UV attribute. I want to inherit that, and I'll explain why later. It's getting inherited already. I just don't want to delete it. That's all. So let's go back in. This is the original value. I'm going to lower this to 2 times so we have more points. And I'm going to save this as v2, underscore v2. And let's cache. Turn off that. Attribute accept UV. I want the UV value. And that's it. Save. Just 100 frames. We'll continue in the next video. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in a bit.